first item we're going to talk about are store facades. Now, you've all heard the saying, you only get one chance for a first impression. So when your customer walks to the front of your store, what's the impression they're going to get? Now, we're going to talk about some of the different things you can do to improve the facade of your store. So, the condition of the paint on the outside. Now, painting the outside of a store doesn't necessarily require much expense, but it's amazing what can happen when you refresh a store with fresh paint. So that's one of the ideas that you could do yourself or get someone to help you do it, or maybe even get the landlord to help you do it. But a nice paint job goes a long way. Now, if you've got graffiti, you got to get rid of it. People don't like going into a store where there's graffiti on the walls. So I know it's a problem, especially in the cities, but that's something important to do. So you want to get rid of graffiti any way that you can. Now, cleanliness. Now, if you're going to walk into a store, aren't you going to want to feel like the store is clean and friendly? So if there's trash, sweeping the front of the store in the morning or making sure that it's clean in front is really important. Now, signage. Your outside sign tells you who you are and hopefully what you do. ABC Groceries or ABC Liquors or ABC Deli. So it's important that your signage is clear, and we'll talk more about signage a bit later, but that's an important item that your customer is going to come to and want to know what kind of store are you. Now, lighting is important, especially at night. So if the front of your store is very dark, it tends to get people not to want to come to your store. So with some lighting outside or some lighting over the entrance, that helps a lot. Now, one of the items that I'm really concerned about when I see some of the stores are awnings. Now, awnings are expensive, and especially if you print them. But a dirty awning reflects a dirty store. And you don't want to give that impression. Remember, you only get one chance for that first impression. So power wash that awning, replace the awning if you have to, and especially if you have letters on the awning, it's really important to keep those letters clean. Of course, if you have windows, we'll talk more about how you can exploit having those windows in front of your store. But you want to have those windows clean, and unfortunately, if you're in a city and they put acid on that window, unfortunately, I'm afraid you have to replace that window. So please try to keep your windows nice and clean. The other considerations for today's world is ADA. So if the entrance of your store is sloped and the slope is too severe, folks in wheelchairs can't get to it. But also, you may have problems with the municipalities complaining about that. So there are programs in some cities that help small stores with ADA issues. Also the door. Doors can have a push button that allows the door to open for someone in a wheelchair. Those programs are available in some of the cities, so please check with Equitable Growth Solutions. They can probably help you with additional information relative to these programs. Outside clutter. Now, you don't want to have the front of your store cluttered with stuff. Sometimes people tend to put newspaper racks or other things out. Don't do that. It just creates confusion as to what this store is all about. There's much better ways to present what your store looks like by not having clutter. Now, many stores have grates, especially in the inner cities. And those grates are important because they protect you from thievery. But the problem is, you don't want those grates, if possible, closed over the windows during the day. Open those grates up and allow the consumer to see your store. It just presents a much more comfortable, more safe environment by not having those grates over your windows during the day. Obviously, at night, you need to do that, especially when you close the store up. Now, some of the stores have a sound when someone comes in. There's a chime or a bell. That's great, especially if you're a one-person operator. It's really important to be able to know when a customer is coming into your store. And then there are different programs that are available that will give you decals. Those are great to talk about food stamps or some kind of a program that you're with. The thing is, don't put too many of those up. Again, those windows are sort of eyes into your store, and you want those windows to really tell what's in your store, but also promote what you have. So decals are fine, but just don't put too many of them up. And be sure that your facade entrance of your store has most of these items, and you'll discover that it'll be a much more comfortable place for customers to walk to, because the outside of your store reflects what's inside your store. So these are some items you can do for your facade.